Welcome back to a brand new coffee tech break with Jan. As you know, we're running a lot of applications on the Studio X and on the G7500. Just quickly, let me show them. Today, I specifically wanted to focus on the Zoom room experience because I won't be able to walk through all those applications. I will do that in the next couple of weeks. Today, I specifically wanted to focus on Zoom room. And I will do that on touchscreen. So as you know, Zoom really supports a touchscreen only. So I will show you that experience. And also I will show you the TC8 experience. So you got a good idea what the different features and functions are on both devices. So I want to take you through that experience in my Zoom room. I got a big touchscreen over here. Underneath, I got TC8, so you're able to see both features and functions, controls, etc. Just before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. What I will also show you is a Teams meeting. So the ability to join the Teams meeting as a guest, really nice. So Zoom as a Chromium browser built in, we have the ability, at least as a guest, to join a meeting. Very flexible, but I will show you that. There's the other thing which I will do is dial into a WebEx meeting. So you can also dial into these type of meetings using H223 and SIP. One last thing which I will show you is voice control. Let me quickly show you this. Hello Zoom, join meeting.
Do you want to join the meeting?
Yes.
Starting the meeting.
As you can see, especially in this period of time, it's very handy when you just walk into the room, you can use your voice to start the meeting. But even if you walk out of the room, hello Zoom, leave meeting.
Leaving the meeting.
You can just mentioning that you want to leave the meeting, and here you go, without even touching any of those controls. So I will take you through this whole experience during this video session. Now, before we jump into those details of the Zoom room experience, I think it's very important that you can experience different types of methods to use the Zoom room app. So you don't sign in, so you just use the device, you put it in and run the Zoom application. So there you can at least join as a guest, which I also showed you in my previous video. You got that personal experience where you sign in with a personal account, which can also be a free account. And you can sign in with a Zoom room account, fully licensed Zoom room, centrally managed, etc. And this is the experience that I want to show you today. Now, what I will do first is show you where you can activate the Zoom room application on the Studio X or the G7500. I will first take you through that. And that application is the same. It's just you log in with your personal account or you log in with your Zoom room account. I mean, that's very flexible. I will first take you through that. The next step is jump into my Zoom room and show you that experience. So before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. And so you got a good impression what the possibilities are. I will also let Jan join from a tropical location. So I got Jan ready to sit somewhere at the beach. So I will let him join in this session. The ability to share some content, etc. And so I'll take you through that whole experience when using a Zoom room from the Studio X side and a user who sits remote, in this case on the beach, and to share his content or share some annotation, etc. But I will show you that. Now let's jump in my computer now and show you where you can activate the Zoom room application. Where do you need to go to activate the Studio X or G7500 as a Zoom room? Well, you need to go to the IP address of Studio X. There you need to log in, and then you go to General Settings, you go to Provider, and there you will find the option Choose a Provider. There you select Zoom Room as the application. As I said, this means as well as for personal login or as a Zoom Room login, it's all the same application. Now, the other thing you need to check is device management. So make sure that your Studio X, my current version is 3.9, make sure that that is compatible with your current version on the TC8. Now, the next step is you go to your Zoom account and make sure you have a Zoom Room license attached to your account. So where can you find it? You need to go to your profile and then underneath you have the options Zoom Room, as you see right here. So make sure you check if you have a license there. And where can you check that? Here on the right side, you see I have license available as Zoom Room. So let me search for my device. And here I should have the ability. Here you go. So here you see my device, which is activated. Really nice. So you need to have a license. You probably can also get a trial license if you want. Now here you can click on edit. And that's, I think, really nice. So you can change a lot of settings in your Zoom Room device. You can enable digital signage. You can change the meeting properties. You can change the display properties here. As it is a centralized managed device, you can configure alerting here for microphones disconnected or cameras, etc. You can configure a scheduled display here if you have that available. There's a lot of features and functions available. Now, I'm not going to dive deeper into this Zoom Room admin portal today because I want to show you the end user experience. Now, so if you need any license, Zoom Room license or trials, I recommend to get in contact with Zoom and they should be able to attach that to your account. Now, welcome into my Zoom room. So as soon as you've put Studio X or G7500 running that Zoom room application, after the reboot, you should be able to see this experience. Now, what do I have here? So on the left side, you see a big touchscreen. That touchscreen is hooked up to the X30 underneath. Table, I have a TC8. But what I've done, I've replicated that TC8, the display, right underneath me. So you're able to see that whole experience. Also, I have some pointers. Just let me show you. So I have a pointer right here. So I'm able to guide you here on the TC8 with a mouse pointer. And the same thing here on the big screen. As you can see, so I'm easy to show you around. That screen is a copy of the screen right here in my home office. So everything I will do here in my home office, you are able to see that on the big screen. So I think that should give you a very good overview of all the possibilities. Now, in my previous video, I logged in as personal account. I showed you also experience when not signing in. So I won't show you that today because as I said, I'm always trying to keep it within 1 or 2 coffees. But today I will sign this in with a Zoom Room account and walk you through that experience. Now you can sign in as you see on the big screen right over there. You got that sign in button as you see here. And on the other end, you see it on the TC8. So what you will see with Zoom is that they've done that really well. If you don't want that TC8 because it is a small room, you don't have any space at the table, it makes sense to just use a touchscreen. So all the controls, not only on the TC8, but also on the touchscreen available. I think Zoom did that really, really well. But today I just want to show you both options. So you got an idea what is available on the big screen or in the touchscreen and what is available on the TC8. Because in meeting rooms, I can still imagine you want to have some control at the table, like a mute button or volume control, etc. You quickly want to invite somebody to join a meeting. There's a lot of use cases which I can think of, which makes sense to use still a TC8 at the table. But I will take you through that experience. So the first thing I want to do now is sign in with a Zoom Room account. To do that, we go to the here to the TC8 and we click on sign in. This will present you with a unique meeting code. So this code will change after, I think, 3 minutes, you will get presented with a new code. This is one option to sign in with this unique code. The other option is signing with an email. As you can see, if you got an email address, password, you can sign in there and just allocate a Zoom Room account. That's also a possibility to sign in. You can also sign in with an activation code. So if you got a Zoom Room license, you can generate a unique code and also sign in the device. That's a possibility. And the last option is using a deployment code. So you could also use a deployment code, attach an account to it, and that means if you send this out to different locations, a mass deployment, people just connecting the devices, they put in the deployment code, and this should automatically provision the whole device. So a lot of options. I would recommend if you gonna do a mass deployment to just explore those different options, what works best for you. What I'm going to do today is sign in with this unique pairing code. So I need to go on my computer now and sign in this as a Zoom Room account with this unique code. So as mentioned on TC8, you go to Zoom/pair and we punch in that unique code. We say continue. Now this gives me the option now to assign a meeting room license, as you see right here. But also if you want to, you could create a new room if the licenses are available. But I will assign one that is already there. So I will assign this StudioX Zoom Room JZ to my X30. So let me do that. And this is successful now. Now let's go back to the Zoom Room. So I just assigned it and confirmed it. And as you will see, now we were getting all the information as attached to this device, a certain policy, and it's being deployed now to this Zoom Room device. So what I've done up front is already attached like a background, so you have the ability to see what is happening when you assign that up front and the device is ready. What I've also done is scheduled some meetings. So I scheduled a Zoom meeting, I scheduled a Teams meeting, which is just 100% Teams meeting. So there's nothing Zoom in this invite to show you that experience, as Zoom has added now Teams guest join. So it is in a sort of public preview available. So I want to quickly show you that. And we got WebEx, just pure WebEx invite, which has H323 SIP information, but you're able to join these type of invites. Now, as I said today, let me take you now through the experience as both the TC8, but also on the touchscreen. What functions and features do we have available? Now, first off here, the calendaring. As I said, so already scheduled that up front. What we also have is a new meeting. So here we can just kick off a new meeting, which will generate unique meeting ID, etc. Have the ability for other participants to join, which I will do in a bit. I will let Jan join from the beach. We got here a join button. So in case you want to join a meeting which is already there, that's also a possibility. There you punch that meeting ID. You have the ability to join, or you can join with a personal link name. That's also a possibility there. Also, you can share screen. So in case you just want to use this room and share screen, that's also a possibility. So if I click on that and share from desktop, then this will generate also that unique meeting ID, as you see right here, and a sharing key. So you just need to go or to your browser or to the application. You click on the share screen option, and that gives you the possibility to share something from the Windows PC side. Really nice. And what I also like is you can escalate this to start meeting. So in case you were just sharing something locally, but suddenly you want to have somebody joining that meeting, that is a possibility. You can escalate it to a meeting, and then you have the ability to let other participants join. Okay, so let me stop this one. Now, what more do we have? So on the lower side, you see here the voice commands. Really nice. So this is built into the Zoom Room. Of course, if you don't want this, you can always disable that. So you can use the Zoom voice commands, but you also have the possibility to integrate with Alexa for Business. So that will need an integration with the Amazon portal if you want to do that. In the basis, you can always use the Zoom Room commands if you want. Really nice. Let me show you quickly an example of that. Hello Zoom, join meeting.
Do you want to join the meeting?
Yes.
Starting the meeting.
As you can see, really flexible. You just walk into the room without even touching anything. So you don't have to touch touchscreen. You don't have to touch TC8. You just mention that you want to start the meeting, which is on the screen, and you can start that meeting. Then if you walk out and you want to exit the meeting, that's also a possibility. Hello, Zoom. Leave meeting.
Leaving the meeting.
Here you go. So without just touching anything, just walk out of the room. You can mention just to Zoom that you're leaving the meeting and you're leaving the meeting. I think really flexible. And I will put some of those commands in the comments. So if you want to review which voice commands are available within Zoom, I will make them available for you as a link. Really flexible. So this is a possibility. If you don't want that, you can also remove, of course, this icon in case you want to turn it off. If I click on it, as you can see, you can turn the voice commands also completely off. But I think especially for those huddle spaces or focus rooms, this could make sense just without touching anything. Now, as I said, we got here the calendar, and on the left side you also see your phone icon. So in this case, my Zoom Room license has a phone license attached, and this gives you also this phone option. So I have the ability to dial also to a mobile number. So if I need to engage with somebody who's still on the road and need to join him into the meeting, that is also a possibility right here. And don't forget this phone license, if you have an account which has a phone license attached, you can also use the CCX 600 and 700. These two devices can run the Zoom app natively. So that's very important, including video and receiving content. Really powerful. So the CCX 600 and 700. So probably in one of my next videos, I will show you around in that experience to show you also the features and functions that are available. Now, the next option here is the address book. So here you have the possibility to make some speed dials in the Zoom admin portal and able to dial to different platforms. And for example, Real Connect. So I can connect here to Real Connect Teams. So if I click on that and I click on Meet, so now we're dialing into Real Connect for Teams. That means you've got a bridge here to the Teams side. HTTP3 or SIP. So in the speed dial in the Zoom admin portal, you can configure how you want to be able to dial out. So as you see it asking now to punch the meeting ID. Where do you do that? So you click here under participants, you click there on the Real Connect for Teams, you click here on show keypad, and now you have the ability to punch in a meeting ID. Just to show you quickly where you're able to find those tools, and then you're able to dial into this Real Connect for Teams meeting, just very nicely. Just to show you a quick example that you have the ability to dial out HTTP SIP, and you can use DTMF tones to be able to dial and punch in a meeting ID if needed. So that's the address book. Now, the last piece we have is settings on the TC8. Now, settings, as you've seen with the personal sign-in, that was all flexible, and you had the ability to configure some things and change some things. What you will see is now, as a Zoom room, this is all centrally managed. You can actually even hide things if you don't want to push it out to a user. So as you can see, the name is fixed, so I cannot touch that. You got here the meeting ID, which is probably a meeting ID which you can assign to this device. You can also change here the proximity volume, but as I said, it's grayed out as this is all done centrally. These buttons here, like system settings, these were available in a personal mode, but if I click now on this, it will ask you for a PIN code. And so this is something also which you configure centrally in the Zoom admin portal. Even with a reboot, if I click on that, you're getting asked for a password. And sign out, same thing, because you don't want people to sign out with a Zoom room, as this room should be available 24 hours a day. Also not the ability to sign out. Now, what do we have more? Under microphones here, you have the ability to test your microphone. And this is also all fixed, as you see right here. If I click, for example, on noise suppression, I think same thing. So you cannot change it. It's all protected here with the password as it is a centrally managed device. Under speaker, same thing. So you could test the speaker output here, really nice, but also there's nothing you can change. It's also grayed out. Camera, same thing, that's all grayed out. Under help, well, we could send a problem report here. So I think so if you run into some issues, you can send that to Zoom and probably open up a ticket. Then we have about. Here we can find versions. As you can see, we're running now a version 5.9. And the last thing here below is lock settings. So when enabled, it's protected with a password. So I can, if you want to allow specific rooms, you would the ability to take that lock away. So if you want to give people the ability to use a reboot or sign out or system settings, there is that option here where where you can give them some freedom in a room if you want. These are the settings. And this is all on the TC8. So now let's look at the experience on the touchscreen there. So I've also attached a mouse to my X30. Always very handy for your training session. So besides the touch, I can also use my mouse here to point to some different features and functions. Now, what difference do you see here with the personal is that the Zoom name, the Zoom room name is here the only thing which is available on the top left. What you saw with the personal account is that I had the ability to change it to away, busy, or available. But of course, if you deploy hundreds of those rooms, you don't want to change that as a user who walks into this room. So this is all done automatically in the background for your Zoom room device. As soon as you join a meeting, it will give the status busy to the platform, so that other people are not able to dial to this room. Now, in the middle, you see here the calendar. It's the same calendar we've seen on the TC8. Now here we have the new meeting. So I will do that in a bit, but I just want to first take you through it. You can also click here on this small drop-down menu and you see call H3 SIP. So this is what I showed you earlier. If you, for example, dial to Real Connect platform, you got always the possibility to do that, or you got any other H323 SIP platform. That's always an option right here. We can join a meeting. That's also similar as we have with the TC8. So you just punch in that meeting ID and you can join. Phone, also similar. So if you want to add a mobile, that's also a possibility. We can start a whiteboard, which I will do in a bit to show you all those features. We can share screen. And we got here the context list. So here you can also dial to those speed dials, as I showed you earlier, also on the TC8. You can create a speed dial to Real Connect for Teams, for example, or to other Zoom rooms to have the ability to dial them very quickly. Now, what more do we have available? What you see on the right lower side is already asked me to try out some of those voice controls settings as it mentioned it right here. But same thing, you can turn it always off by using the touch on the screen, the right lower side. Then here we have that configure button, as you can see. So these are the same functions I showed you on the TC8. Here you can test your microphone, you can test your speaker, you can change camera, and you got a help button. And also same thing, as it is locked, if you want to unlock that for certain rooms where the users would have the ability to change some of those settings, then that is a possibility. Now, another thing which I wanted to mention is the sharing key, which is here available on the top right side. The sharing key is for sharing content. So you're able to hook up with a mobile, with your Windows or with your Mac. You just punch in a sharing key, you can share your desktop or a specific application. Really nice. And as soon as you stop sharing, the sharing key will change. So it's a random key which will be changing all the time. So this is the experience all before the meeting. So what do you see as a user? So mostly the calendar invites you to join one of those meetings. Now, what is the experience now during a meeting? So I just want to start a meeting and show you what controls there are available. Now, to do that, I will first start a whiteboard session to take you a little bit through of the whiteboard, and then I will escalate it to a meeting. So at the same time, you have the ability to see those in-meeting controls and take you through the whiteboard options. Now, I will do that here on the touchscreen. So as you can see, I have here that option here on the touchscreen, whiteboard. And let me start that now. So I click on that, and this will initiate the whiteboard just locally. Is if you just want to share a whiteboard and just do some annotation there, that is a possibility. Now, what do I have available? If you look at the whiteboard, so top you see a pen. There underneath you got a sort of cleaner and eraser. Then we have colors, as you can see here. So we got some colors here. We have the pens. Show you that. So here we can say, for example, also shapes and the thickness of the pen. You can decide that. So let me, for example, type a red color and just try to type something. Hello. And also try a sort of thicker pen. You see? So you got different pens available there. What more do we have? The shapes. Take you through some shapes in a different color. So shapes means that if I make, for example, a square, it will try to correct that and create a circle or square. I think really nice. So this is something you can also enable here on the left side. Here you got the revert back option. Click on that, you can go one step back. Then we can delete everything. Here we can change the color. So this is now white and now black, which is usually, if you use some different colors, it makes sense to use a whiteboard. Now the other thing, what you see right here, it's a nice one, is you can attach multiple whiteboards. So now we got 2, and now we got 3, and now we got 4. So I think you can almost create like 15 whiteboards. If I now click on that, here you go, you got multiple whiteboards available. So you could switch between those different whiteboards. Really nice and flexible. And if I click on edit, yeah, so you might be able to delete some whiteboards if needed. Edit, when you click on that cross, yeah. So really nice. So you can switch to those with different whiteboards and use them whenever needed. Now there's another option there, the last one, a marker, and if I click on that, here you get the option to send. So if you want to share them, so when you're finalized with your whiteboarding, you can share them. So you can select the ones you want to share, click on next. Here you can send it to a contact or you can email it. So very flexible. And on the right side, it seems a bit hidden, as you can send it as PNG or you can send it as JPEG. So you can also select the format. Really, really nice. So this is all built into that Zoom Room application, Whiteboard. And on the right lower side, you see here Start Meeting and here a new share. So if you're finished with sharing it, you completely want to start over, you can start a new share. And on the left lower side, you see Close. So these are all the options we have available in this whiteboard. Now let me now just walk into this room and share something. So I need to use that sharing key on my Windows machine to share something. So I go to the option in the client to share screen. Then you need to punch in that sharing key and then you punch in share. So now it will connect to my Studio X here, to the Zoom application. Here you go. And I'm sharing now my screen. So here you see the screen which I'm sharing right now. As you can see, this is my Windows PC. Now, what options do we have available? So let me click on touchscreen. Here you go. So we have the option on touchscreen to start the meeting, as you can see. And also here below, you got also the option on TC8 to start a meeting. Now, besides sharing using that sharing key on the top right side, don't forget you always have the possibility to fall back to the HDMI ingest. So the HDMI ingest on StudioX running the Zoom Room app is fully functional, also on the G7500, even including audio. So you could share a guest comes in who doesn't have that Zoom app on his laptop, you can always fall back to that HDMI ingest. The next use case what I want to show you is working on a project. So we're whiteboarding, but we need to consult Jan, for example, on holiday, sitting on the beach. We want to let him join and see if we can annotate together on the same whiteboard. Just some use cases and show you, we're escalated to a meeting, we show you those in-meeting controls, as well as on the TC8, but also show you what is available on the whiteboard. Now, what is available? How can we kick that off? We click here on Whiteboard to initiate the whiteboarding. So on the touchscreen, we got the whiteboard now, and on the TC8, you see the meeting information and the sharing information. There's even a possibility, if you look here below, to share simultaneously if multiple people want to share. This is the default disabled, but you have the ability to enable that if you want to. Now, we were working on a high confidential project and we need to consult somebody else. So here you have that project right here. Now, how can we escalate this to a meeting? So I can let Jan, I need to consult Jan. He's on holiday somewhere at the beach. I need to consult him and to get some additional information on this. So we can do that by clicking that start meeting in on the touchscreen, but also we can do that on the TC8. As you can see here on the top right side, you got this option here, start meeting. Now, let me do that here on the TC8, for example. And what you see immediately is that we got now those in-meeting controls who are showing up. So on the touchscreen, if I click on the touchscreen, you see all those buttons now popping up. So let me take you now through those in-meeting controls. So these are the same if you share the whiteboard now in a meeting, or you share content, but in general, what options do we have? So we have the mute unmute button. So let me make sure I mute this one if other participants join. Then we have the start and stop video. Probably most of you are already familiar with the Zoom control application. Then underneath we have the security. So if we click on that icon, you got a lot of options there. So you can lock the meeting where other participants are not able to join. We got here the waiting room. So if somebody joins, you need to allow that person. We can hide the pictures if you want to. We could distract participants. Now, if allow participants to is when people join that meeting, what do you allow them to do? So they can share screen, can have chat, they can rename themselves. So you're able to tweak these during the meeting if you want to. You can annotate and on sharing content. So we'll let Jan join in a bit, and he will have the ability to annotate there. But I will show you that. And there's another option here, lastly, in the suspend participant activity. So if I click on that, what you will see is that you can suspend any activity. So if you want to stop content, video, audio, everything, because there is some suspicious situation, and you can suspend that there immediately. Really nice. So these are just the security settings. Change view. So here you have the ability to change the layout. Really nice. Under options, which is just that option right here, if you click on that, you can switch between presentation and the participants. But as there's nobody else in the meeting now, I cannot do that. So I will show you that in a bit. On the camera control, what you find here is that you got manual PTC. So here you can control the camera manually with some controls and create some presets. As you see here, we got speaker focus. That means tracking the speaker in the room. We got auto framing, which is sort of group trapping it to make sure that everybody is visible in the room. And then we have multi-stream. So multi-stream is that brand new feature, which I will show you in a video. So I will put a link there. It's a brand new feature where it's able to capture the participants in the room. And that will be shown in the gallery view of Zoom. So I think that's also a really nice feature. So these are the camera controls. What more do we have? We got manage participants. So manage participants is just have the ability to manage them. So here you can probably set them, raise hand, but also as other participants join, you can mute them. So here below you see the option to mute all, unmute all. You have here the option to invite. So here you can invite, for example, favorites. So if you got some branch offices or other Zoom groups which you want to join them, here you can invite them. What else do we have? Unmute all. We got here that more button on the right lower side. And here you got some other features. You can mute participants on entry. You can show non-video participants, etc. So you can play with some of those settings which you want to have available during the meeting. Really nice. Now the recording is available as it is a Zoom room, so it's all centrally managed. So you got the ability here to start recording during the meeting, and we can show chat, which I can show you in a bit when we let the participants join. And we got the breakout room option. So if you need during the meeting to break out to different rooms, as a host, you're able to put those participants in those breakout rooms. And at the end, we come together in a centralized room to discuss everything and what most of the people done into those breakout rooms. Really nice. So this is available in a Zoom room. On the touchscreen, what do we have there? It's probably similar options. As you see below, we have here now mute, unmute, stop, start video, the share screen option. We can change here also the layout. We got here the option more. And here you go. Here you got all those options which I just showed you as. So raise hand, security, which will probably give you the same functions as I just showed you on the TC8. We got the breakout rooms, camera control, manage participants, start recording, chat, and also settings. So same thing. So you got all those features and functions also available on the big touchscreen. Let now Jan join from the beach. So we need to get the information ready. So what we do is we click on the TC8 and here you can find that meeting ID. Similar on the touchscreen, you go to the left top and there you will find also the meeting ID. So let me now ask Jan to join this meeting. Welcome Jan to this meeting. We've muted Jan to make sure that we don't hear any of those nice beach sounds while I'm sitting here in my home office. But probably he's able to give his guidance on this project. So let me show you that. So we got the project right here where we were working on. Now, what is Jan able to do? So let me see. So he's providing now his feedback. All right. So am I able now to provide some feedback? Yeah. Okay. Let's see if he is able to provide some guidance. Yeah. Am I able to provide some guidance? Yes, I think we are coming to a conclusion. Very nice. So as you've seen, we can annotate both at the same time. Really nice. So started a whiteboard, escalated to a meeting, and then as you've seen, Jan has the ability to join the meeting. Now, after working on this project together and we're finished, we want to make sure we can save our annotation. So you got two options. So we can share this right here. So with that marker you see on the left side, you can share it. So if I click on that, I can share this here through a chat or through email. That is a possibility. And you can send it as a JPEG or a PNG, as you see here on the right side on the touchscreen. But also you can close it. And if you close it, it will also ask you if you want to save it. So here I can save it and you end up here in the same screen. Now in this case, let me just close it to make sure we got this one finished. And now we see Jan again from the beach. Now the next thing which we want to do is Jan wants to share something from the beach to the Zoom room. And so I ask Jan to share something. All right, let's see if that's a possibility. Here you go. So as we enabled the sharing possibility, you can see that that is an option. So he has the ability to share something with me. Additionally, he can do some annotation there. So if you want to drive this, using, for example, an annotation, that is a possibility, as you see right here. So he can share something from the beach and annotate over it. Now, what are the options that I have? If I click them on that photo, you see I can view it, but also on the left corner side, you see I have the option to annotate also. And it's like that pen you see on the left lower side. If I click on that, here you go. You have now also the option to choose here between those different pens of the whiteboard. So I can select here, and let's say I'm picking here the green one. Same thing. You want to discuss about this type of coffee. You also have the ability to do that. So Jan can share something also from the beach, can annotate over it. Same thing, and I can do that then also from the Zoom room. So you got all sort of different use cases, and probably I'm not able to walk through them all, but at least you got some ideas of the possibilities that there are. Now, something I wanted to mention when somebody is sharing from a remote location from his Windows PC is on the left side. You see here this mouse. Just a minor thing, but just to take you through it. If I click on that, I can take control now of the remote PC. So Jan sitting at the beach, we got sharing a presentation or maybe share something in his browser, but I can take control of that and then use his mouse to walk through the experience or walk through a presentation remotely, etc. Really nice. So there's always a possibility to do that. Just a minor thing, but that could be really helpful when you want to collaborate together. Now, what are now the layout options? So as I take you through earlier, we're now sharing something here in the Zoom room. So if I go back now to those layouts, which are right here, change view. So I can go here and play with the layout. So now this is speaker. I can go to thumbnail, and this will show the participants here, as you see on the touchscreen there at the top. So if there's multiple participants joining, these will be joined right here. And also the controls, you got them now on the side here in black. So this is a little bit more nice if you want to see those controls available. And the other one is gallery. Click on that. So now you're able to see this gallery view. So the content also a bit smaller. Now, one other thing which I want to show you, if you go back to the original view, is the options right here. So if you click on options, now that we have a remote participants, you can also change the view. So first off, you see the content now in big, but if I click on this option on the TC8, swap content, what will happen is here you go. So now you see Jan at the beach in big and the content big smaller. Do that again and change that. Here you go. So now we have the content bigger and Jan at the beach smaller. There's the option here to enlarge the pip. Here you go. So now the pip is a little bit enlarged. You see that option here, right TC8 at the top, enlarge 2 times. That enlarges that. And you're probably able to change the pip to different locations, as you see right here. Really nice. And so there's a lot of things, or you can turn it completely off if you want to. As you can see, there's a lot of options available here to add to play with that layout and play with the controls. Now here we showed you that whole experience before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. Now if you want to jump out of the meeting, there's a couple of options. You see here the option on the touchscreen to have a meeting end. Same thing on the touchscreen, you got here meeting end. But also you can use your voice, of course. Hello Zoom, end meeting.
Do you want to end the meeting for all participants?
Yes.
Ending the meeting.
All right. And here you can end the meeting. So we walked through different scenarios, and hopefully that was helpful to show you that whole experience, as well as on the touchscreen as on the TC8. As I said, I would recommend to play with this in your own environment, but I just wanted to give you an impression of the possibilities. Another great feature which I wanted to show you is joining a Teams meeting, because the Zoom app has the ability to join a Teams meeting as a guest. So there's a sort of Chromium browser built into the application. You have the ability to join that. So I scheduled a Teams meeting. So there's not any Zoom information in there. This is really a Zoom meeting, as you see right here. And I want to show you the experience when you join that type of meeting. So let me click on join now here on the TC8 and show you what will happen. Because on the touchscreen, what you will see is you will see that application, that Chromium browser starting up. Here you go. You see that Teams logo now. And this will mean it will jump in this meeting, but it will wait for the host. So this is something you need to keep in mind. If you're going to use this feature, you're going to be waiting for the host before you have the ability to join that meeting. But at least you have the possibility. It is in public beta now, so I'm not sure that everybody will be able to see this already in this tenant, but otherwise I recommend that you just ask Zoom if you're able to try this out. Really nice. And it gives you some more flexibility to join those other platforms. And similar, you got a sort of third-party join to a WebEx meeting. So I scheduled also a WebEx meeting, which you see also here on the TC8 and on the touchscreen. Same thing. So let me click on that, and what you will immediately see is just like Real Connect, it will be dialing out H323 or SIP to that external platform.
You're the meeting host. Enter the host key followed by pound.
Here you go.
If you are not the host, enter the numeric meeting password followed by pound.
So it will ask you to enter the meeting ID to join this meeting. I think this is really nice and gives you some great flexibility to join those other meetings, which could be handy sometimes. Now, there's one last thing which I think is really nice in the Studio X and G7500, and that is device mode. It's built in also into the Zoom room. And there's different methods to initiate the device mode. The first one, which I think is a great one, is when you walk into this meeting room, you attach that USB cable in the laptop, it will ask you if you want to use the device mode. Really nice. So let me show you that experience. And so I got my laptop now, walking in. Here you go. So as soon as the cable is correctly connected to the laptop, you will have the option to switch to that BYOD mode, as well as on the TC8 as on the touchscreen. Even if you got a Trio C60 connected there, it will also prompt you with the possibility to switch to that mode. If you don't want to, you can always cancel, as you see right here. Now, let me switch to that BYOD mode. And what's happening? This will share camera, speaker, and mic with participants who are walking into that room, maybe with a Teams meeting or any other video client on his laptop, and want to have the ability to use this room. So that's a possibility here. Now, what do we see on the TC8? So you got some basic controls like a mute, camera control, volume control. You will see the meetings that are going on. Also here I can switch back to the Zoom room. So if I do that, let me show you that. So now we're back in the Zoom room. So you can always jump back into another meeting if needed. And you see the option here, switch to BYOD. So as long as your laptop is connected, I can always switch back to that BYOD if needed. So really flexible. What I think is also nice is that there's a configurable timeout that if I unplug that USB cable, that it will switch back. So it doesn't stay in this device mode. So if another user walks in, and that he doesn't walk into the room showing this interface. So let me unplug the cable and show you that experience. So I'm walking out now as a user, and normally you would see this interface if another user walks in. But as I've configured this timeout, which you can do in the Studio X web interfaces, so I will put a link there to a video where you can configure that. Here you go. And then after that configurable timer, it will switch back to that native Zoom application. So you'll always have this interface in the basis in that room available. Now there's a couple of other options to jump into the device mode. Probably if you've seen that earlier with other applications. So on the side menu here on the TC8, here you go. You can also jump to that device mode. So that's another possibility. If you click on that, here you go. You jump into the device mode. So that is a possibility. Touchscreen, same thing. So on the side of the touchscreen, so if you need to swipe a little bit here to the left, you can also call that side menu application. And I can click here also in device mode. Here you go, same thing. So there's always possibility if the cable doesn't work here, you can manually force it into that device mode. Really, really nice. Now, there's a lot of options possible with the Zoom Room, as this is just Zoom Room for users, for shared spaces, but you can also put this system into a sort of kiosk mode, let's say at the entrance of your office. Let me quickly show you that, how that looks like. Now here you go, just a quick example. We configured now here the Zoom Room in a sort of kiosk mode. So you could think of placing this as a touchscreen at the beginning of the office, so where people walk in at the entrance, so they can call the reception, and on the other end they can reserve a workspace. And you can add additional numbers here and speed dials if you want. Really nice. Final feature which I wanted to show you is the Hotdesking. It's in public beta right now, but I think it's also a really nice feature. So what you can do is when you walk into this meeting room, I have the ability now to scan that QR code and just use this room, or I can just here manually just reserve a specific time and make use of this room. Now here ends the video for today on the Zoom Room experience. Hopefully you enjoyed it and it gives you a good impression of what is available on a touchscreen and available on the TC8. Now, if you like this type of video, I would recommend to subscribe to my channel, because in the next couple of weeks I'll also show you around in all the other applications that are running on the Studio X. Now, if you got any questions, just leave them in the comments, and I will try to answer them as good as possible. As usual, thank you for watching, and I'm already looking forward to see you in the next video.